Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Two Player Co-op Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along with my brother from my mother, Short One.
How are we doing?
Fantastic. We're not going to go through the whole rigmarole, everything right now, because this is a special episode that we are dedicating solely to spoiling the hell out of The Last of Us Part 2. Obviously, this is your warning. If you couldn't tell by the title of the video / podcast, you should have seen it because you clicked on it. We're going to spoil the hell out of this thing, including everything. When I said that. We're going to spoil everything. This is your last warning, and we're going to get into it right now. So I thought one thing that might be fun to do, because I have this many notes, is to just read through my notes and just, it'd be funny, but then you just yell out when something happens, or we can not, and we can just talk. Because I've got them in sequential order.
For me, it's going to be a free-flowing conversation.
That sometimes is going to touch on mature subjects like people getting murdered to death with a golf club.
Yeah.
Starts with a flashback. Tommy! I guess I didn't know Tommy was in the game. I was very happy to see Tommy at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I said, Ellie still doesn't know? The game is 2 days later. It's still happening. The game is beautiful. The snow, the models, the animation, rope physics. Sound design is amazing, especially the death gurgles. They got really old by the end, though. Dear God, the clickers are still terrifying. I'm mostly playing stealth so far. The horse controls well. Joel murdered. Are you wahoo kidding me? So I went from that, everything, and then they just murdered Joel.
Yeah.
Again, I think we both thought, as we touched on our first spoiler discussion about this, I think we both thought he probably wasn't going to make it through the game. I don't have a problem with him dying. I have a problem with the way they marketed this game and the way that they did the death so early on. And I've heard other people talk about, did you ever watch Jeremy John's video on it? Mm-mm. He's like, here's what you could have done. You could have had, Joel stumbles upon Abby and her crew and whatever, or Ellie does or something, save them from the clickers. They take them into town. You have no inclination that Abby might want to be finding this guy named Joel and kill him because of her dad, whatever. And then you play through the whole game as Joel, Ellie, and Abby in some kind of combination, doing things to help Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and the settlement and everything. And then somehow towards the end of the game, it gets let slip that that's Joel. Or actually, you probably wouldn't play as Joel. It probably would still be Ellie and Abby. But that's Joel. And Abby's like, oh my God, that's friggin' Joel. And then the game, then she's like, Ellie, I got to go. I don't know. And she's struggling with it or something. This guy's been helping her. They took her in. They helped her live here, blah, blah, blah. And then she leaves and the game ends. Remember at the early part in the game where, oh my God, now I can't remember his name. Owen, right, is the guy's name?
Yeah.
Owen shows Abby, look what I found. And you see them, they go through the woods and everything. Then they look out and you see the city down there. And then it's just she says, let's get him. Cut to black. That's Last of Us Part 2. And then Part 3 is, you can still do the thing, kill him early on, but then we've known Abby for a whole game. We can kind of side with her and everything. It's just and early on, I was listening to the Spoilercast I was listening to. Neil Druckmann said originally, what did I write down here? Originally, The Last of Us Part 2 was going to be open world. Abby was going to get attacked and saved by Joel, then spend some time, well, this is kind of what Jeremy was saying, spend some time in Jackson doing missions until revealing who she is. She struggles with the decision to kill Joel, but ultimately still decides to. Then you switch to Ellie and you go to open world Seattle. But it's just randomly, and then you spend 10 hours in the second half of this game trying to make me care about Abby, and I never did.
Yeah.
Did you?
I came around quite a bit to the point where I was I don't want to go too out of order here, but when you get back to the theater as Abby, I was so, and I guess it's what they want, but I was so torn. I'm like, who am I, the good guy? Am I the bad guy? why am I trying to kill this person who I think is the good guy? And it's just this weird. It's something I've never felt in a video game before. I can at least say that. I'll save some of my thoughts for when we get to that part, but yeah, I actually found myself caring about Abby to the point where by the time I was in like day 2, I was no longer. When I first took over as Abby, it's like, wait, why am I Abby?
It's what
now?
I said.
Like,
I said when we first had played it for like a day, I was like, they're gonna try to pull a Kylo Ren.
Yeah, but you and probably a lot of people out there don't want to hear this, but it makes sense. They draw like such good parallels between Abby and Ellie. Like, I understand why Joel did what he did, but you can't understand that and just be like, well, Abby sucks. I don't know. What's her problem? Why is she trying? Like, dude killed her dad. Like, of course she's going to want revenge the same way Ellie wants revenge on her for killing Joel. Like, it's they're two
Dias.
Yeah, like,
But
and if you don't care about her, I get it, because you've had a lot more time to get to know Ellie than you did Abby, so you're going to have more of a connection with Ellie, but they're kind of one and the same.
But my thing is, Joel and Tommy just saved them multiple times in that 30 minutes or so that you're playing as Abby with Joel and Tommy. Multiple times from the infected. And then once she hears somebody, well, no, they tell Abby what their name is before they get back to the place. That's why she goes and gets the shotgun when they're still talking to everybody else. They saved her life. If they don't save her life, she can't ever get her vengeance and everything. And then when it comes time to do the deed, and they're like, hey, yeah, we're just relaxing and everything. He's like, my name's Joel. And everybody looks up. Looks like you heard of me. Doesn't hesitate. Just click, click. They have. Bam. Kneecaps him. And
okay,
then
but Abby also maybe not saved, but spared Ellie's life twice.
Mm-hmm.
And she still wanted to kill her.
And that's why I have a problem with the writing. I don't.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think Ellie. I thought the game on the farm. We're just gonna go all over. On the farm, I thought the game should have ended there. I didn't. I think like in my mind when I got to that point, like Abby's moved on because she spared Ellie twice. Ellie has to just be happy to be alive. It clearly was like a year later because Dina was only, when we left them, I think like a month pregnant, 6 weeks or something. And now they've got a kid that looks like he's almost a year old. So maybe like a year and a half. I'm like, why would she all? And then Tommy all of a sudden, remember in the beginning of the game, Tommy's like, no, you can't do this. You can't go. Joel would not want this. He wouldn't want you to do this. And then at the end of the game, he's like, and I get that he got, I don't know how the hell he lived. I've heard people say it was like a grazing blow or something, but his whole face is like melted off. Now also, I guess because he got shot, now he's like, no, screw this. We got to kill her. Oh, you suck because you won't go. And I get he's at the end of his rope because Maria's left him, it sounds like, and everything, blah, blah, blah. But I just don't buy for a second that Ellie would have gone from Seattle. Oh, God, I wrote it down. How far is it? It's like an 18-hour car drive. It's somewhere in my note. Maybe I wrote it down somewhere else. It was like an 18-hour car drive or a 37-day hike or it was something like stupid. Because I went to Google Maps and I was like, how does it from Seattle to Santa Barbara? And it was like forever because they don't have cars.
Well, but she wasn't in Seattle at that point, right? She was back in Wyoming.
Well, so it's even further, right?
I don't know where Depends
Wyoming
on where and
is.
why. I don't know where Wyoming is, and I don't know where Jackson is in Wyoming. But
then I don't like it. And then I thought at the end when she cut Abby down, yeah, we're not going to go in order. My idea is stupid. There's too much to talk about. When she cut Abby down, I don't buy for a second that Ellie is going to go up to Lev and say, you're going to fight me or this kid gets it. I don't believe that. I'm like, oh, I get like revenge. It's all corrupting and all encompassing and everything. But I don't believe for a second that Ellie would have done that. And then Like, especially when she Abby is just like, she's been up there. I think somebody said, I think it'd been like 4 months or something. She's emaciated. They've ripped her hair off. Who knows what they've done to her. Or if they just left her strung up and just like, you could tell she's all sunburned. Horrible. Again, God, this is the prettiest game ever. Even when it's stuff that's horrible like that.
Yeah.
That Ellie's like, yeah, we're going to fight one more time. And the only thing I liked about it was when her flashes of Joel changed from him lying dead to him, like the flash. Do you remember what happens right before she lets Abby up? She sees a vision of Joel, but instead of it being him lying there dead, it's him sitting on the porch with a guitar just saying, hey. And it's like, that's like Joel's quote unquote okay now, depending on what you believe, whatever. Like, she no longer has that PTSD of just seeing him lying in a pool of blood with his brains beaten in. I liked that, but I just don't buy that she would have had. Why would she leave Dina, who she's in love with, and clearly she looks like she's a great mom to JJ. Like, I just don't buy that she would have just done that, especially when she sees how upset Dina is. I did like that she put on Joel's jacket when she left. I was like, that's Joel's jacket. That's pretty cool. But I don't buy. There were so many weird things at the end that I was just like, I feel like you're cramming a third game into the end of this.
Honestly, by the end of it, if there was such a thing, I kind of feel like I would be #Team Abby. Because, and you can blame the writing if you want, but like, I understand why Abby did what she did. I understand why a lot of people don't like it, but I understand why she did it, because she's doing it for the same reason that Ellie's doing what she's doing. Abby had her twice dead to rights and let her go and said, I don't ever want to see you again. Don't ever let me find you again, or whatever she said to her. And then, yeah, Ellie leaves her family to go find her again and say, well, I'm going to try one more time to kill her.
But in reality, I guess it's a good thing
saves
she did.
her life, kind of, by cutting her down. And again, when Abby's like, come on, there's boats here, we can get out of here.
That's
and
when
Abby has more or less like buried the hatchet at that point, and Ellie's still like, no, come on, I'm going to kill you, let's do this. And it's like, yo, calm down. Like, she could have killed you twice already. Yeah, you've got the upper hand now because she's just like a skeleton.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
But this is the same Abby that at the end in the theater, when she has beaten Ellie and Dina comes and attacks her, they shoot Dina in the back.
They make it seem like Abby has more of a conscience than Ellie.
Right. Well, but it's the same Abby who Ellie says, please stop. She's pregnant. She's got Dina like this with a knife right here, and she says, good. And gets ready to slit the throat of a pregnant woman who she now knows is pregnant and only stops because Lev tells her to. Ellie didn't kill Mel because she was pregnant.
But Abby doesn't know that. She just knows she killed her pregnant friend.
True.
So, I mean, as far as she knows,
eye for an eye.
She's like, you just killed my pregnant friend. I don't care that she's pregnant. Good. And then she stopped herself. Now, I know Ellie didn't. Would Ellie have had second thoughts about killing
yes,
Mel if she knew she was pregnant?
And also, did you notice that was like the one time when Ellie kills Mel? That was like the one time that Mel had she had like a big like puffy jacket on, so you couldn't see her. Every other time she's just walking around in a t-shirt and stomach out to here.
Right. Yeah.
Oh crap! I was gonna say something. I like Lev.
I like Lev. I like Yara.
Those were my
never
two
really
favorite characters in the whole thing, I think.
What I didn't really care about, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the fact that I really just don't care. I didn't care, as messed up as it is, I didn't really care about Mel. I mean, it sucks that she's pregnant and she died, but like Mel, I don't know. Not a fan. She just kind of annoyed me. Whatever.
The only character...
Her only saving grace was the fact that she was pregnant.
Well, I think they were like, this character sucks. Make her pregnant so people feel bad.
Yeah.
The only character I really liked on this side was Owen. Like, he actually is the one that seemed like he had a conscience. Like he was the one at the beginning that told Abby after she's... And that was the other thing. Like,
yeah, I came around on Owen when I didn't think I would either.
She's bludgeoning him to death. I know that Joel killed her dad. Her dad did pull a knife on Joel. When he comes into the operating room, or a scalpel or something, he pulls a knife, kind of goes towards Joel. Joel shoots and kills him. Now, you don't have to kill the other doctors in there. And it seems like in canon that the other doctors didn't get killed. I'm pretty sure when I played The Last of Us, I killed them. It's like, give me Ellie.
Kill them all, man.
Kill them all, big. The thing I was going to say earlier, I didn't realize this until after I was done playing it, and I was thinking of it. I was like, holy crap, Ellie doesn't really know why Abby killed Joel. Because remember in the theater, she's like, it's me you want, it's me you want. There's no cure because of me. Joel killed them to save me. She doesn't know that the doctor... Why wouldn't Abby say... Again, bad writing, I think. Why wouldn't Abby say, that surgeon was my dad? Why does it never come up? Like, it's never explained to Ellie why Abby is so hell-bent on revenge. Never once, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah.
Not once in that entire game was it brought up that, well, the doctor was Abby's dad. Because then I think Ellie would have been like, oh, Jesus, okay, I get it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I didn't realize that till after I was done, until after I'd beaten it. And I was like, holy crap, why did Abby never say he killed my dad? My dad was the surgeon. My dad.
But I don't think she cares. She's like, well, I owe it to her to tell her. No, she's like, no, I killed him.
No, but I would think at some point you would be like, no, I'm not trying to kill you because you lost us the cure. I want to kill you because he killed my dad. That's why I killed Joel. It had nothing to do with the cure. Because it doesn't. To her,
right? Yeah.
To Abby, it is all about, and I get it, somebody killed my dad, and you're going to die. I don't care what the reason is, you're going to die. I just can't believe that they had so many not so many, but they had enough interactions between the two of them that you would think that would have come up. That, no, it's not the cure. He killed my freaking dad.
Yeah. But, I mean, they really didn't. She killed Joel, and they've just got her pinned down, and then that's just kind of it, and then they all leave. And then when they're face-to-face in the theater, they're face-to-face for all of about 5 seconds before Tommy comes in, and then everything just goes crazy. So it's not like they had a lot of time. They didn't have that much face-to-face time.
Yeah.
I mean, the most was at the very end by the boat. But
that was the other thing I was going to say. It was about Owen. I wasn't going to say that. I just looked back at my notes. It was about Owen, about how I actually liked him as a character and everything. And, like, he's the one that, like, tells Abby after she's just, I don't know how many times she'd probably hit Joel with a golf club, like, finish it, this is over. And then it's Ellie, what was his name, Manny goes up and he's just, we can't have any, and he's gonna kill Ellie, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? No. And then Jordan tries to kill her too, and he's like, no, what the hell, she cut my face, I don't freaking care, you're supposed to be out keeping guard, what's wrong with you? We came here to do this, we're done, we're out, we're not here to just start murdering people, that's not what we were about. I liked Owen as a character, but Manny, pendejo. I was so happy when he got his eye sniped out. I was like, yes, I'm supposed to feel something. I don't. And that was the other thing. Did Ellie ever kill you as Abby in that boss fight?
Did Ellie kill? Oh, many times.
I was so happy. I was like, I don't care.
When she like shoots you in the stomach, she's like,
yeah, and then your head explodes. I was like, yeah. All right, the game ended. Okay, cool. What else do I have here? I've got a lot. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, it's just like it reminds me of MGS2. And I didn't even know, the funny thing, if you heard me saying early on in this, I was comparing it to Metal Gear Solid 2 just because of subverting expectations and The Last Jedi and stuff. I didn't realize they were going to actually pull a Metal Gear Solid 2 and have us play as Abby for 10 hours. I think that just went on to, I think that's the reason I'm only like an 8 or an 8.5, because by then I was like, oh my God, I got to start all over again. I got to do all the crafting again. Yeah, she's got new weapons and stuff, but her stealth attacks suck. I like having the shiv with Ellie. You can only shiv with Abby if you craft them and stuff. I just thought the game was way too long at 22 hours. It was way too long.
It was definitely too long. I didn't really have any problem with the storytelling. The combat grew on me. The characters, some of them grew on me. Some of them I just didn't care about. But it seems like, it could have been...
It should have been a 15-hour game.
Yeah, either this needs to be two separate games, or I don't know. It was definitely, I think it was too long.
And I think it was also jarring to just be like, the whole game's about revenge. Abby killed Joel. Play as Ellie for 10 hours, and then, now you're going to play as Abby, the person we're wanting you to hate for 10 hours. And I know they did it for reasons and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I know, but like, it should have been like 2 or 3 hours. She didn't need 3 full days.
Yeah, her 3 days were just as long as Ellie's, and I think I didn't mind it. I mean, in general, I think it was too long. I don't know. They each had their. I think maybe I probably preferred playing as Ellie, if for no other reason than
And stealth.
the stealth stuff. Abby, it was nice that you could actually like fend off clickers and stuff with, like your fists and whatnot. It wasn't just auto death if they touched you.
She's a badass. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
That part, she was fun to play as. She did play much differently, but I just preferred Ellie because of the bow and arrow and the shivving people when you sneak up on them. That was my foot.
yeah. I don't know. I do think it was too long. I don't know that it would work. I don't think you could just cut it at the theater.
No, because
and say,
then
here's one game.
Then it is
and
just.
then here's Last of Us Part 3. Like,
Well,
that wouldn't have really worked.
I don't think so either. But like what a lot of people are saying is what might have worked better is because you just, no matter what, if you go day one, day 2, day 3, you get to the theater, you're a flashback with Abby. At that point, you don't know you're going to play through 3 days. And then it says Seattle day 1. And you're immediately like, oh my God, you're kidding me. I got to do all this again from this side. Like, play day 1 is Ellie, and then day 1 is Abby, and then day 2, and day 2, and day 3, and day 3, and then they meet up. You know what I mean? Like, I think there was a better way. I think you could have done it where you get to play as, you don't go 10 hours without playing as Ellie. I don't make video games or write them, so I don't even know if the story would have made sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how it would have played
Yeah.
out.
Obviously, there was the built-in tension because you know how day 3 ends. It's just how do you get there? But the problem is it took 3 days to get there.
Right.
From Abby's side.
Yeah, it's true.
I wrote down, I hate killing dogs. Jesse, seriously, that's what you faked a freaking trailer for? The flashbacks with Joel and Ellie are nice. The museum. I think my favorite part of this game was all the flashbacks with those two. And it's probably because I felt like we were robbed of, getting to play a game with both of them again.
Yeah.
But all the flashbacks, and then the part that I was saying that made me cry at the end, which bumped it from like an 8 to an 8.5, was just that last scene, that porch scene, and you can see, and the performances are great by Ashley and Troy, and you can see like the tears welling up in Joel's eyes, and then he says, I can't remember the exact quote, but if the Lord gave me a chance, I'd do it all over again in a heartbeat, and I wouldn't think twice. And it's like, yeah, that's a father's love. Like, that's what he was doing. He looks at her as a daughter, and there was no guarantee. And then we find out also earlier, random tangent, Marlene didn't even really want to do the surgery.
Right.
So then you also see the doctor who Joel killed is kind of a jackass because he's like, we're going to kill this girl. Yeah, maybe we'll get a cure. Okay. Now, Neil Druckmann has said in his mind that if they did the surgery, mankind would have been cured. And I'm like, I just feel like that's like that's just like CYA.
You can't say it. That's stupid.
Nothing in the game tells us it was a sure thing. And the fact that Marlene was like, I don't think we should do this. We can't just kill this girl. And it was interesting that she said, it was interesting that she decided to tell Joel. And he's like, why would you do that? Don't do that. He's going to get pissed. And he's like, no, I'm going to tell him. It's almost like she wanted, it didn't work out for her because she got killed by Joel at the end. But like, it was almost like she wanted Joel to do what he did because she didn't feel right about it. Like, let Joel know, see if he can get out of here, save this girl, and just get out of here. I thought that was interesting. I did like that.
Yeah, that's true.
What'd you think about the museum?
I liked it. I think I would have rather had. I think it kind of dragged a little bit. I think I would have preferred more shorter flashbacks, I think. I wouldn't go so far as to say that was my favorite part of the game, but it was a nice touch. It's like, it's almost like Neil saying, I'm sorry.
Here you go.
You don't get Joel. Here, take this instead. I like it. It was a nice touch, but I would have rather seen a couple more of those that maybe didn't go on quite as long. But it was done well.
I wrote here, the Scars are cool enemies, but it makes me think they're going to pull a Kylo with Abby. Okay. The introduction to them with the whistles and the arrow removal is so good, where Ellie has to pull, and that happened to me 2 or 3 times, and that was just like, oh, it was horrible. The whistling was so as the game goes on, I'm like, well, this is actually helpful. Now I know where you are, like where the whistles are coming from. But at first, I'm like, what the hell is going on? I said Ellie feels bad for killing Nora. I don't, but the chase was cool. That was where I like that whole sequence when you're chasing Nora down as Ellie, and I don't know, I can't remember now if it was an aquarium or hospital or whatever it was. And you get to the end, you finally chase her down, and that's when the red light's on. There's spores.
I was in the hospital, I think. It wasn't the aquarium.
It must have been the hospital. But then Ellie makes her talk, and Nora's sitting there like, "What the hell? You don't have you don't have a mask?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm immune, bitch." She didn't say that. Well, actually, she may have. I can't remember, but I didn't like to see Ellie going down that dark path. I liked the red lighting and everything because it was just like creepy and
yeah.
And then when you don't see her actually deliver the death blow, you don't see how she actually gets Nora to talk. But then she goes back. She's like covered in blood, and Dina's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I made her talk." "What'd you do?" "I made her talk." But that whole chase sequence was really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
I wrote down, why are dodge and run the same button?
Yeah, I think that threw me for a loop a couple times. The only thing that it was good for is if I was like cornered and I wanted to just take off running, I would just hold the left stick and just like tap, 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 and like, oh, she like dodges while also kind of moving quickly. But yeah, it is kind of odd.
I liked the dodge button. I thought it was cool. I almost thought sometimes it almost made combat too. If you were one-on-one, combat was super easy. If you're going head-to-head, not like shooting and stuff, but when you can use the dodge mechanic, it made it pretty simple.
It definitely helped. It was kind of frustrating, but I think they had to do it this way to make it not super easy. When you're going against some of those bigger dudes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just go, Hua! And then sometimes they go, Hua! 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 So you never know how many times you have to dodge before
I would end up
doing
dodging
your strike.
one time too many, and then I'm like, oh, crap, now I can't punch. Yeah. Jesse's dead, man. I never got attached to Jesse.
I couldn't have cared less
I
about
didn't
him.
care. I really didn't even care about Dina. I cared about Dina because Ellie loves her, but like I just don't. We didn't spend a whole lot of time with her. I felt like they could have used a whole game together too, or something.
Yeah, in the end, I felt more attached to Owen than I did Dina or Mel or Jesse or Manny or. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they did a bad job of developing them or if they were just not very. I don't know. I just didn't care about them.
Yeah. I don't know that it really was a giraffe moment, but I wrote down that the zebra was the giraffe moment. I don't think it was.
I think it was. It didn't compare, but I think that was probably the closest thing to it.
It was gross when you found like the placenta or whatever. I was like, oh, Naughty Dog, you're way too realistic with this stuff. The one thing I will say I loved was how Abby's chapter, after you get past the flashback and the death and everything, and she wakes up in the stadium. That was so freaking cool. Like they've basically turned like a luxury box into Abby's apartment, and she walks out and you can see like this entire like the Seattle Seahawks stadium with all these stations for like washing clothes and whatever. And then down there you can see they've got, it's actually kind of sad, they've got like the bulls and the chickens and stuff in the corral, and they're all going to eat them and stuff. And then they've put up 2 friggin' giant wind turbines.
They definitely seem to be much better established than Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess they are.
And they had schools and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. That was a cool way to, again, kind of show the difference between them and how well established they are. And I don't know, but yeah, the stadium thing was really cool.
Yeah.
That's back when I was like, I don't care about Abby. I don't really want to play this but this is cool. Like
Yeah.
I at least had that kind of kept me going for a little bit.
And then you see like everybody like waiting in line to get food, and the burrito was very crunchy. It sounded like, I don't know, it was like a super fried burrito that Abby eats when she's walking with Manny. I said I'm glad Owen dumped her punk ass. I said cool. Abby likes seals. F you. Abby saves a Scar lady. I don't care. I ended up caring because I like them. Abby has compassion for the Scars who have killed how many of her people because they saved her, but not for Joel. The Scars and the WLF have been in a war for who knows how long now.
Yeah, I guess we don't really know.
But they didn't kill her dad, so you can just say that. I get it. Level design's great, blah, 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 blah. Forgot Neil didn't write this. Lighting the game so good. How are all these buildings collapsed at? We talked about that on the podcast. Danny tried to kill Owen. Owen shot him. It's a lead. I got to see it through. That was a callback. Oh, I said the friendly AI in this game is completely worthless, just like the first game. I don't think we talked about that on the podcast. My AI partners never do anything.
The best thing that I got out of them, which I later found out didn't really matter, was when they would, when they'd finally get to like, oh, I think we got all of them.
And you're like,
just so I'd be like,
oh,
okay,
okay,
good. I know that means that they're all dead. But then there's times when you're just Ellie or Abby, and once you kill them all, they're all like,
she's like, oh,
I guess I got
that's
it.
it.
I'm like, oh, so I don't even need my
Right.
partner to have that conversation. But yeah, they're kind of worthless.
There was a couple times where they would be like, Ellie, up over there. And then you'd see like an arrow pointing this way, like, oh, there's someone up there. And then I'd do my like night vision, my detective vision, be like, oh, there they are up there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there'd be times where it's like, Abby, on your right.
Like,
right
holy crap.
Well, you couldn't have given me a little more warning.
The height stuff was crazy on those sky bridges. I like that. That did humanize her a little bit, and how she's like this big tough chick, but then she's like, oh my God, I'm going to fall. That, even just being in a video game, I was like, it reminded me of Final Fantasy VII Remake. When you're doing all the lights and stuff.
Oh.
But this seemed way more terrifying for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's because Final Fantasy VII, you were like a billion feet in the air. So it's like, what is height even at this point?
That's true.
Whereas this, it was just like, oh, I don't like this. And you had to balance. Sometimes you had to balance Abby when she was walking across something.
Yeah.
WTF was that monster?
I hated that boss fight. And not just like I hated it it wasn't fun.
No. It was just run around, get trapped in corners, keep shooting, find ammo.
It's just...
It didn't fit with the rest of it.
No.
Did you see how they mocapped it?
No.
Push Square tweeted out they mocapped it by maybe it wasn't Push Square, I forget. They tied 3 people together with motion dots and stuff to go like They really did. That's not even a joke. That's how they did it. Like they actually mocapped that stupid thing. I don't know if I'm just dense or a dumb old white guy, or maybe I was drinking that night or something. Until I heard people talking about it, I completely missed that Lev was trans. How the hell did I miss this? Like, I heard them calling him Lily, but I thought that was just like they were just calling him a name. Like, I didn't know that was his former, and don't get mad at me. I don't know how to say this stuff right. His former identity or whatever. I completely missed that.
So I missed it too. Well, I just assumed they were both girls. And then... But then in the game, it's like, no, you're supposed to think it's a guy. Because then all of a sudden, Yara, I don't know, somebody talks about Lev and says him. I'm like, oh, that's a guy? Okay, well, whatever. But then when you get to the point where the Scars are like, there's Lily.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so it is a girl. Okay.
I think it just went...
She just cut her hair. I'm like, okay, so... But I also didn't pick up on the fact that she was trans. I just thought, oh, she's a girl, but she cut her hair. But I don't know. It just,
I think it
right
just went way over my head. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not completely dense.
No, they don't like beat you over the head with it.
Yeah. Which I appreciate. And like people that are like, oh, trans characters and lesbian characters, blah, 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 blah. That's who the characters are. Who freaking cares? There was no like, I never went into this thinking like, Neil Druckmann thinks everyone should be trans or everyone should be gay. Like, what are you people talking about?
Yeah.
Oh. I will give Abby some props. The one line that I loved from her in the entire game was, "You're my people."
Yeah.
After Yara's been, I think it was after Yara's been killed. Was that after?
It was right after they killed Yara.
And then
Lev's
Isaac got
Lev's
killed.
like, your people just killed Yara.
Yeah,
or
you're right.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I think
you're
it's
my
right then.
people.
Yeah.
I like that. I wrote Owen is a cheating poop bag. And we didn't need the weird that did not need to be in there. The sex scene, I was like,
it felt very out of place.
not only that, but I'm sitting down here playing The Last of Us with my headphones on. The boys are out there playing Overwatch or something. Jess is upstairs putting Casey to bed or whatever. And as she's walking down, this is starting to happen. And I was like, okay, they're kissing, whatever. And then the top comes off. I'm like, okay, what is happening here? And then she turns around. And I was like, oh, God. And then, like, I hear Nick coming through the kitchen. I was like, okay, I hope I'm not missing anything. Skip cinematic. And I went back and watched on YouTube. Nothing. That's, like, right where it ends. But
Yeah.
I just thought that was so weird. I'm not a prude or anything. It was just like, it didn't make sense.
Why? Yeah.
In the story, you didn't even it could have. Sometimes you can just, you don't have to. What is it? Show don't tell. Well, no, you can. No, that's not it. I don't know. There's a saying with what I'm trying to say. Like, things can be implied. You don't have to show. Oh, it's something like, you don't have to show everything or something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
People say it better than me. I don't know. The sniper part with Abby is nuts. Tommy killed Manny. F yes. Again, we talked about that. I was so happy. I did not feel anything except elation that he was dead.
Yeah.
I was so happy.
Now, when did you know it was Tommy?
When you started that, I will say that whole sequence was awesome. It was so tense from the
That's how
second
you do
get
a
there.
boss fight. Like,
Yes.
that was done so much better than the stupid. You know what they call that enemy? The big blob guy?
Yeah, the Rat King.
The rat cat. Why?
I guess because it's been like living down in the sewers of whatever this hospital for 30 years,
yeah.
mutating and sucking up other things. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I knew it was Tommy. Oh, well, the time I definitely knew it was Tommy was when he friggin' killed. I got up on him. When you get to the end where you're like going through, there's like all these chairs and stuff, and he's hiding behind a pillar, and you kind of got to like sneak your way. I got up to him before he ran away. I went to like shoot him, and as I went to shoot him, I was like, that's Tommy. And then I was like, it's a video game. And I shot, and I screwed up, and I hit the pillar like right in front of me, and he's right here, and I was like, bam! I'm like, well, okay. But I thought before I got up there, I started to think it was him, because there's one part, I think it's when you're like crossing the bridge to get where he was originally shooting you from. Right after that, there's a part where you can see the person running, and I saw like the blonde hair and like the jean jacket and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, that's Tommy. But then I'm like, oh yeah, it should be Tommy. He's been killing all these people that we saw in Ellie's playthrough. He's murdering everybody. He was at one point, was it him that was teaching Ellie how to... Yeah, it was him teaching Ellie how to be a sniper. Remember that one time when they were just walking through the woods?
Yeah.
So, yeah, when did it click for you? And did he ever kill you? Again, he
only killed
point
me
blank.
way back, like when he's just up on the bridge.
Oh, I think he killed me once or twice there, too, yeah.
But yeah, at first then I just thought it was some random guy. I'm like, okay, cool, boss fight. And then when they kept talking about him, you're like, man, who is this guy? This guy's good. I'm like, okay, well, clearly it's it's Tommy. But I didn't know for sure until... But see, I never got close to him.
Really? See,
when
I
we were
almost
in
think...
the restaurant. Where, like, I'm trying to think of how it all played out, but I think I just, like, went outside, and then all of a sudden he, like, jumped on me, and then I was like, oh, okay, it is Tommy. But, I mean, I had suspicions before that.
It's he killed me before Manny's killed. When you're leading up to the point where you're still chasing him on the inside, but
okay.
Yeah, not on the inside of the restaurant. Yeah, he killed me point blank. I was like, oh, well, again, I don't really feel bad. The horse escape, what did you think about the island section? Everything's on fire. I the only thing I wrote down about it was that horse escape was nuts. I like the boss fight when he said, "Do you want to know how I got these scars?" Because you freaking could you notice what you did to him by the end of that fight?
Oh yeah, that was messed up.
It was from like
that whole
here to here, just with that like sickle or whatever it was, or scythe, whatever it's called.
And that's another good like.
That
That's
was
how
a good
boss
boss
fights should be. The other one was just
Not just a big
didn't-
bullet sponge.
Yeah, it didn't need to be there. I thought that was pretty cool. That was like, I mean, the whole game is beautiful, but that part, just like with the flames, I mean, that felt
And we played it on a regular PS4.
well. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I thought it was really cool. One thing I will say about this game, just in general, and same thing with Last of Us. I mean, part of it is how they always keep, whether it's the hospital or the Ferris wheel, or I'm trying to think back to the original one, where there's always just something. And it always just happens to be like, ooh, look, if you look right through the trees, there's that building. And it's like, you go through this building and you come out here, and then all of a sudden, boom, oh, you can see it again. Oh,
like
but
a
it's a
point
little
of
closer.
reference,
Yeah, it's just so cool how they do that. And there were a couple times where I just got lost. I mean, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. But for the most part, in a game that, you know, it's not like you can go everywhere. You can't really go too many places besides where they want you to. But I just thought it was cool how as soon as you saw where you're supposed to go, you know that's where you're supposed to go, I guess. Like, you could be in this building and you can see all these doors, but then there's like one door that doesn't really look different, but somehow it looks different, and you're like, that's where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
And 10 times out of 10, that's where you're supposed to go. And I don't know how they do it,
It's
but I
just
remember
amazing level design.
Yeah, maybe it's just the
Yeah.
design of the areas, but I remember the original being that way too, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just one of those things like you always know, once you see it, you know exactly where you're supposed to go. Even though when it looks like you could go anywhere, once you see it, you're like, that's where I have to go.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that. I don't know why the fire part made me think of that, but I feel like there's parts there too where it's just like everything around you is on fire, but like you just got to keep going, and somehow you just know the right way to go. And yeah, that part was crazy.
It was breathtaking. Like riding on horseback through this village on fire was like, I've never seen anything look this good in a video game. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boss fight was nuts. That poor guy's face, he's just dead as hell. It was cool that we found out when we were playing as Abby that Abby wasn't alone when she got to the theater. She had Lev with her. That was cool. Also, but like, Ellie's dumb enough after she kills Mel, she just leaves a map there that says, "We're here."
Yeah.
I said Tommy's dead too. Mother F this game.
That
Turns out
like,
he wasn't dead, but I did not see that coming.
At least with Joel, I was like, before it happened, basically once they shot him in the leg, I'm like,
oh god,
oh my god, they're gonna do it. And so by the time it actually happened, I was like, oh
I can't believe they did it. Yeah.
But then with Tommy, it was just pop. I'm like,
well,
wait, what?
You just killed Tommy like he was nobody? Yeah.
That blew my mind.
So I was glad he was
Tommy's
alive, even though his face is half dead.
Yeah.
I wrote, aw, little baby Jesse. Mama Ellie? Farm section is cool, I guess. Ellie will teach the baby to play guitar, but this is anticlimactic. And then I wrote, are the sheep food? And then I said, oh my gosh, I have to herd these effers like Twilight Princess. One sheep was named Todd, which I just thought was hilarious.
Really? I didn't get that.
I said, is this a nightmare? And then Tommy comes in and I said, oh my God, Tommy's alive. And I started crying there because I was just like, this wasn't like, there's no way they killed Chewie. There was 2 transport ships. This wasn't that. That dude got shot in the face. And I was like, oh my God, this game hates me. And then to see him alive, I was like, yeah, but then you see how broken he is and everything. And that made me cry too. No. Oh, I wrote it there. Okay. Seattle to Santa Barbara is an 18-hour drive, a 379-hour hike. That's a long hike.
Wow.
I got sad here because that's when they show the flashback to the first time they've spoken, I guess, in 2 years after she found out the truth from Joel. Dina and Ellie are dancing at the trailer that I started thinking wasn't even in the trailer. At the party thing that was in the trailer 2 years ago. I started thinking that wasn't even in the game. And I was like, well, I guess this isn't in it. It was like a big, they built a farm at E3 built around this. And this isn't even going to be in the game. And then the guy's being all hateful and everything. And then Joel's like, don't you dare. And she said, right, I wrote down the last thing she ever said to Joel was, I don't need your help. And I was like, this game hates me. Now we found out that they talked later that night in the porch scene and they kind of reconciled before he died. But Ellie put on Joel's jacket to go after Abby. Oh my effing God, stop making me play as Abby. A lot of people were saying online, it's not funny. But the way that when the Rattlers, and I'll ask you about that here in a second, but when the Rattlers grab them and they knock out Lev, this big dude who's like 300 pounds comes out and like punches him. And the way Lev falls, he like falls and he hits the garage and then like ragdolls and falls down. Some people are saying that it like completely took them out of the moment. That just the way
really?
that it just looked funny. I was more looking at Abby, but
yeah.
What did you think about the whole Santa Barbara portion? Abby's thing wasn't that long. You're going through the neighborhood, kill a couple things, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I was happy for her when the radio came on. I was like, that's cool. I didn't think she was going to get freaking... I thought if anybody was going to jump out and get her, it was going to be Ellie. And then the final boss fight was going to be us killing Ellie or something. And then I was going to be livid with this game. But what did you think about that whole area, the Rattler camp, the new enemies? They got freaking armor on and motorcycle helmets. Ellie gets a freaking automatic, like an MP4 or whatever.
Yeah.
I was glad to have an automatic weapon finally. I'm sick of this bolt action thing.
I didn't mind the Abby part because it was just short and sweet. And it's like, okay, you're in this town. Let's investigate this house, whatever. The part with Ellie, I think it, too, was a little bit long. I just didn't care because I thought I'd beaten the game.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden I'm like...
It felt tacked
there's
on to
more,
me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it reminded me of. I don't know if it's another video game or a movie, but it was probably a video game, but I don't know what it would be now, where it's that kind of feeling where like you think you've beaten the game and then it's like, well, hang on, here's one more part, and it's
like Lord of the Rings Return of the King with like 15 endings and you're like, when is it going to end?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote this whole Rattler area just seems tacked on.
Yeah, it seems like it didn't really fit or something.
Did you realize the clicker trap was really weird? Did you know? I found out from Jason after I beat it. I didn't know this. You know where they've got the clickers, they've got like the cuffs around their neck and they're like tied to the stakes. You can go release them. I didn't know that.
I think I got... There's something that let me know that I could. I don't know if you get close and like the X pops up or something.
I was like, I snuck up to them, but
I didn't know what would happen. I'm like,
okay.
Are they just going to eat me? Or are they going to go after them?
That happened
I'm
to
like,
Jason.
I'm just going to kill all them. And then he was still all like...
Yeah, I went up and just went like...
just shot him. I'm like, nope, not going to mess
No,
with them.
I went up and I just knifed
So if
them
you
both.
release them, do they go after them?
They do. As long as you're quiet, they will. Because they were the... they were the clickers, so they can't see you. So as long as you just sneak away, they're shooting guns everywhere and everything. You can go over, let them loose, and just let them wreak havoc.
Okay.
So now I'm like, man, I don't think this has like a chapter select. Maybe it does. I haven't tried New Game Plus, but that would be fun just to go back and just do that part, just to be like, see what happens.
It was also cool, like, finally, like, literally at the end of the game, when you're finally like, oh, the title screen. I'm like, why?
What is
when
the
it's just this
significance
boat?
of this boat?
It's just this boat floating in this like foggy area. I'm like,
and then the title
okay.
screen changes.
And then it changes. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
And I do like that she and Neil said, yeah, she made it to wherever Catalina wine mixer, wherever she was going, where the fireflies are.
Yeah.
One thing I was confused about, at some point when I think it's when Ellie's going through the compound, she interrogates somebody or something, and she's like, "Where?" Oh no, it's when you're still like in the neighborhood before you go to the compound.
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking that with that same big dude, I think, like, where's Abby? Oh, the muscle bound chick, whatever. I can help. I know where she is. Blah blah. She got bit. I could have sworn that he said in passing that she got bit, but I must have heard something wrong because clearly it's been 4 months. You heard it too, because clearly she didn't. She's not bitten. She's not turning unless she's now. If she's immune too, then F this whole universe. Like,
no, I forgot about that. That definitely.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
No, that definitely happened, but I'm trying to think in what.
Now I got to Google it.
Unless he was just talking just to try to.
Well, it's one of the searches that pops up.
Have her spare his life. I don't know, but yeah, I kind of forgot about that until just now. But he definitely says something like that.
No, all they say is that she bit off Ellie's fingers. I don't know. Now I need to go back and watch the cutscenes because I know. I'm glad that I don't. That apparently I didn't just make that up because I was like, "What the hell?"
But see, even when I heard it, I feel like I didn't take it literally. Like I think I took it as in he was just.
We clipped her wings.
Well, not even like metaphorically, but just like that he was just lying. But I can't remember why he would have and what the situation was. But even when he said it, there's like no part of me that was like, "Wait, she got bit."
Because we saw that whole thing take place, and she didn't get bit. She just got attacked by the rattlers.
Right.
I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I can't remember how that played out, but that definitely happened.
And then the ending happens, the fight. I did at the end when she was drowning her. That was the second time I cried. Because I cried when Tommy came back. Well, I cried when Joel died, of course. Cried when Tommy came back. And then at the end, I was like, even though I wanted Abby to die... I didn't want Ellie to kill her at that point. I was like...
Even at that, especially at that point, and like I said, I was already kind of Team Abby at that point, and I was just as messed up as it would have been. I'm like, my God, this would be the one chance for a happy ending. That at that point, I was ready for them to just like, not like hug it out and whatever, but just bury the hatchet and just be done with it. Right. Like she sees her and she's like, "Oh my God, like this is messed up."
She told Ellie how to get out of
down. Here. Yeah, Abby's like, "Come on, let's go. There's a boat over here." And then Ellie's like, "No, I still don't like you, and I'm going to kill you." And I'm like,
"And if you don't, I'm going to slit Lev's throat."
I was just like, "Come on, like, I don't know."
Then she gets back. Her fingers were bitten off, so she can't play the guitar. Her one, as everybody said, her one remaining connection to Joel. Now she can't even do that.
My one complaint. Now that we're there, not my one and only complaint, but as much as I loved the story, I thought the ending was just kind of like mainly like the ending. But then also when I thought it was the ending, and then she's like, "Hey, we found her. She's in Santa Barbara." And then I thought it was gonna be like, "Okay, I don't care. I'm past that." And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh no. We are going to Santa Barbara now." And it's like,
oh my God.
Okay, so now I got to play this part. And then you find Abby and you cut her down. I'm like, okay, well, good. They'll bury the hatchet. They can just be done with it. And then it's like, no, I'm still going to kill you. And then it's like, my God, so now you got to do that. And then you go back to the farmhouse. And then it's like, you have this huge game with all these intertwining stories, and then it just ends like that. And I don't know if I missed something. I don't know what we're supposed to believe is happening, but like,
it's just that revenge will cost you everything. She had the perfect life. She was living with someone she loves. They had a kid together. They were on a big farm with Todd and all the other sheep, and life was perfect. And because of her bloodlust, she lost everything.
Yeah.
And it just corrupts all, I guess. But then you see her, she puts the guitar down. I missed it the first time because I was just looking at the guitar. I didn't see Ellie walking away outside.
Yeah, you see her. She comes into frame for a little bit, but she just keeps on
and
walking.
Nobody knows. I'm like, oh God. I do not want a part 3.
I did see something online. I think Neil maybe retweeted it, or maybe he just liked it and it popped up on my feed. I don't know. But somebody was like posting their interpretation of the end, and that there was more to it, and the fact that Ellie went into the house and she didn't even seem confused, or called out for Dina and found out she wasn't there, that meant that...
Is Ellie dead or something?
No, she's not dead,
Okay.
but she and Dina still are living happily ever after, and she was just going to the house to get the guitar or something, but then she ended up saying, screw it, I'm just going to leave the guitar. I don't know. There was somebody else's, like, interpretation. Like, maybe it's not, maybe she didn't lose everything. Maybe it's not such a sad ending. Maybe they are actually together, and she was just going there to get the guitar, but then decided against it. I don't know, but...
I think in my mind, where she's walking is to go kill Abby. I'm kidding. I think she's going to try and find, like, some people are like, I think she's going to go find a new settlement and live there and start a new life. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think she realizes, like, if she and Dina love each other, loves about forgiveness and everything, if she can track her down, like, maybe she went back to, I don't even know if they were we don't even know where the hell that farm was, right? Did it ever say if it was in Wyoming? Or it must be in Wyoming, I guess.
I think they did say it, or
Okay.
they at least very much alluded to it, but I
Okay.
don't remember in what context.
Like, I think she's going to find Dina and say, I screwed up. I didn't kill her. It's over. Let's be together. And then that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything we didn't cover? I have so many, like, spoiler notes. Let me see if there's... Yeah, it took me 22 hours to beat it. Love the combat and stealth. The performance by everybody. Also, again, we already talked about this on the podcast. Don't be a jackass. Don't send hate. Don't be stupid. For God's sakes, it's a video game. You think I let you do this on your own? It's Jesse. Some of my notes here, I was really, really pissed off when I was playing this. I wrote here, I've never been this mad at a game since Metal Gear Solid 2.
And now it's one of your favorites.
Yeah, this won't be. I said this story, and I do think this, just overarching thoughts, I just don't think the story is as good as part one. I just don't. I think that was more tight, focused narrative, and I just thought it worked better than this. But
yeah, I do think one is better. I can definitely appreciate what they did with this one, and I definitely like what they did with the story. Maybe not what happened, but what they were trying to do. Not just what they were trying to do, because that cheapens it. I mean, I think they did it well. But just the... I'm trying to find that tweet that I was talking about, and now I can't talk. I can't find it. I do think the first one is better, but I don't think it's like way, way, way better. I don't even think the first one's a 10 out of 10.
no,
I think
it's
first
a
one's
9.
like a 9 to 9.5, and I think this is like an 8.5 to a 9.
Yeah.
Like, they're pretty close. But I do think the first one's better.
The other thing I forgot to say about why I hate Abby, in addition to Joel saving her and she just kneecapping him and bludgeoning him to death, like, she never... And again, I guess I get it because he killed her dad, but like she never... There was no questioning. There was no, why the hell did you do this? Why did you kill my dad? Well, he pulled a knife on me. Why did you kill him? Well, he was going to kill this girl that I look at. There was just no... And after 4 years, she's still that enraged to where it's just shotgun to the kneecap. I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked Abby and Lev's relationship. I really liked Lev and Yara too. I thought they were great. The best story moments were flashbacks, but doing them was where I do think the flashbacks, it was kind of hard to keep track of what the hell was going on in this game because there were so many flashbacks, and they weren't just flashbacks to like sequential order. They would go like 3 years ago, and then 1 year ago, and then 2 years ago, and then 4 years ago. It just
I
seemed
couldn't
like
keep track of what was
I was like,
what.
I don't know who's who and what time it is and what we're supposed to know anymore. It's just so confusing. What else? I said it's like they wanted to make the most bleak ending ever. Ellie doesn't get revenge. She has a happy ending but leaves Dina to go after Abby, but lets her go again and comes back to nothing. And then here's her last conversation with Joel, and she can't even play the guitar now. F. The original ending for the game did have Ellie killing Abby, and it stayed that way for about 50% of the development. And they said, "I don't think this is right."
Wow.
Yeah, but I was happy that she didn't kill her. And like, oh, I wrote it down here. I started tearing up during the fight. I didn't want Ellie to kill her at that point. So I don't know. Good, solid game. Not my favorite. Not my game of the year. Final Fantasy VII Remake still that. Yeah. I don't know. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I do think Final Fantasy is still my game of the year. I think this will probably end up number 2.
Yeah. Well, as of now.
As of now, it's
Okay.
absolutely number 2.
Miles Morales, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot more that could.
Mario
happen.
remakes, hopefully.
Yeah, Paper Mario. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, that's true. So, all right. Well, we've been wanting to talk about this in full spoilers for a while, so I hope you guys like this. Again, just a fun, not really fun. This game was depressing to talk about, but a nice one-off episode, nice spoiler cast. We'll do these from time to time when games permit. No, that's not what I wanted to say. When the game warrants. That's it. When the game warrants it. Miles Morales could actually deserve a spoiler cast, depending on what they do with that story.
Yeah,
and what it leads into for 2, but we'll see. But that's it. That's our last of us part 2 spoiler cast, part 1. Thank you guys so much for being here, and until the next time, Shul 1, go ahead and take us out.
Thank you for playing.